It's an honor to have you with us today to share your story and your accomplishments.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Could you speak to that point as to how you're able to keep your humility and relate to the real problems and issues of the people who appear before you?
Yes, thank you. I tell my colleagues sometimes that, listen, we are not judges because we are better than other people. We are judges because we are chosen. And I think that judging is a mission. I mean, you start out in your profession as a legal practitioner. To tell the truth, when I went to school, I so admired some of my teachers. I loved my books. I loved a good number of my law courses. And I thought my first choice was to be an academic. That's the truth. I wanted to be an academic. But then, I had, again, after I graduated, I got a position at the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies in Lagos, at then University of Lagos, as a research officer. But my family was in the East, in Anambra State, and it became a problem. I really wanted to take up that position, but I couldn't because it just wasn't convenient. And so I was stuck. I became a magistrate. And again, I always thought that, I don't know, the magistracy wasn't something I wanted to do. And I must tell the truth that I came into the magistracy as a matter of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
When I started out practicing law, and I was with a law firm, it's a very senior law firm, and it was very difficult. Senior lawyers in my country, I must say, are not usually very kind to the younger ones, in the sense that they make a lot of money, but what I see happening now is that there is more structure in law firms in Nigeria now than it used to be in my own time, in the 70s and 80s. You just came in there, you were given an office, and the senior lawyer placed you on the lowest of salaries that was hardly enough for you to do anything. And this is what happened. And I kept running from pillar to post. I would be sent to Port Harcourt. I was sent to all kinds of cities, go to Lagos, do this, do that, go and take that motion, go and take evidence, go and take this, go and do, oh my God, for nothing. For nothing. I could barely even buy petrol for my car. For nothing, for peanuts. And of course, I had little children that I had to live with nannies all the time in order to run around. And a senior member of the bar said to me, I think it was the chief registrar of the High Court, called me one day and said, why don't you become a magistrate? I said, magistrate? What is that? No. I like my legal practice. I want to be abreast of the law. He said, listen, you can be abreast of the law, you can do your thing, you can be the best wherever you are. And I think that was the best piece of advice I ever got. I didn't even apply. But he put my name down and told me, you are being invited to attend an interview. I attended an interview. I was made a senior magistrate. My salary was better. I got accommodation. It was a lot more comfortable for me, And then I understood what he was saying. Because at that time, I was still in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I set my mind to it because I was very academic oriented. I set my mind to, I would talk to some of my young colleagues, other magistrates were in the same age grade. And I said, listen, let's do our best. We don't have to be like the older ones because these magistrates, some of them have been known not to be hardworking, not to be lazy, I said, listen, we're the new generation. At that time, that was in the early 80s. I came to the magistrates in 1982. I told them, listen, let's do our best. We can do better, And I don't need to tell you, but I can tell other upcoming young people that hard work pays. Hard work pays. Lawyers will come to court and they will lazily present their case, not make any effort because you're not the High Court. And they'll tell you, this is not court of the magistrate court is not a court of record. It is a summary jurisdiction, and so on and so forth. But I and some colleagues of mine, we insisted on sifting through everything, even like the High Court. Go through the evidence, go through this, go through that, look at everything that is applicable. And I know some senior lawyers will come and say, what's wrong with you? This is just a magistrate's court. It's a summary jurisdiction. Why are you reading this long judgment and ruling on every single issue and giving us reasons and giving us jurisprudence and so on? But those were that was the training ground. That was the springboard. So if you started out in that, shall I say, cozy kind of position that, oh, I'm just a magistrate. It's not a court of record. Our decisions are not recorded and are not in law reports, so you can offhandedly do what you want. The world watches you. Lawyers watch you. And they go behind and they keep saying, that woman is material for higher judicial duties. I know that from experience, yes.
So that core part of your being, yes, from the very beginning, it seems to me, was to work hard, to do what was needed to do to bring the right decision and to hold to your principles and to ethics. And so what other advice do you have to our listeners about a successful career that you haven't already shared with us? Any other lessons you want to convey?
I just want to say that the judge is human. The judge is just another human being who is in a privileged position, privileged to sit in judgment over others. This is an assignment we must not take lightly. Sitting in judgment over other people comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of humility. I know in the old days in England, whose jurisdiction was foisted on us, we walked around like, justice this and that, my lord, my lady, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the essence. That is not the essence. The essence in all of this, in the law, is that you put in that hard work and you realize that you are doing a job, you're doing something for society to make society a better place. It's not about you. It's not about, look at me. I am Justice so-and-so, I am lady this, I am what, my lord, my lady, no. That's not the essence. It's not to walk around and be called, by all these lofty, high-sounding names. It's about being, as you do this, you cannot do this job properly without, I don't know if I'm beginning to sound Christian here, effacing, being, self-effacing to some extent, in order, because what is more important is what you do for society. It is the job that you're doing for society, what you're doing to make society a better place, that is more important. The humanity in the judge must shine forth. And the judge is not just about sitting in the courtroom. There are lots of other things that a judge can do. Because when society sees you doing those things, they are encouraged, and you will be surprised at the number of people you can influence. Talking about, in the present day, they talk about influencers. The way our children talk about influencers on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Because when I was in the Solomons, I saw that the Solomons, I came there, I was shocked at the level of poverty. It's a lot worse than Africa. And I got a couple of women together.
We were talking about the influence that judges can have, that it's not just what you do on the bench, but that judges are leaders and are in a position of power to affect things appropriately off the bench. So share with us what you did with the women you gathered when you were on the Solomon Islands, as an example.
Yes. Yes, of course. As I was saying, in Solomon Islands, I saw a lot of deprivation. I saw a lot of poverty. And and honestly, to say that women are second-class citizens is an understatement in Solomon Islands, at least at the time I was there. You know, women, people were poor. There was a lack of education. Some of the things we take for granted, even here in Africa, I found were lacking in Solomon Islands. I found a lot of children were out of school. The number of children I found running to school in the morning were a lot less than the number of others walking around, just walking around with nowhere to go. And their mothers were, you couldn't even go into a shop and buy your clothes and stuff like that because, these things were just not there. Your shoes, you couldn't even find a cobbler to do something to, maybe this shoe is not so, it needs some, you need to have gum here or do something. You didn't have all those facilities that easily in the Solomons. And so we brought these women together and we got there among some of the expatriate women. Some of them were people whose husbands, I remember one lady from Belize, whose husband was working in the UN in UNICEF. Oh, she was a fantastic tailor. So she came and we started giving lessons. We brought the local women and started teaching them how to sew so that they can at least make school uniforms for their children. Instead of lining up at the Chinese stores in the hot sun for very cheap, schoolwear, we started teaching them a good number of things. Sewing, personal grooming, a lot of things. And the women were just so happy. Well-placed women in the Solomons were also very happy. I remember the wife of the prime minister was part of us. I remember some of the women who were permanent secretaries and, who held high positions in government. They were all very much in our group, So what I'm trying to say is that the judge can do a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I was shocked when I was leaving Solomon Islands and there was a valedictory session for me by the judiciary. The Chief Justice of the Solomons is still there now. Oh, he went on and said, the Solomons will miss Justice Izuako, what she has done for our women, the way she's brought them together, give them, put some meaning in their lives and the things they do, and they're happy. Wow, I didn't realize, this was that well received or well known. But even when I left, even after I left, I kept getting messages from people in the Solomons telling me, this is what we've done. We have expanded this, we've done that, and so on and so forth. So the judge can be an influencer in many other ways. It's not just about sitting in the courtroom and walking around with some uniformed policeman following you around and everybody bowing and scraping and saying, my lord, my lady, and so on and so forth. I think a judge is just lucky to be in a position to sit in judgment over other people that you're not better than. That is the way I think, that is the way I see it, and I think it helps the way I relate.
And in the Solomon Islands, some of those women started businesses. So much blossomed from that. Yes. And that's because you realize, it's so good to hear you say that judges can do more, that we are role models in the community. We can be leaders in the community. And it also emphasizes what I like to call the power of one. You saw a need. It was a desperate need of the women there in the Solomon Islands. And you came up with an idea, you, one person, and then you got other ones to join with you. And then you can make change. The power that we have to make change cannot be underestimated.